Hey y'all, I'm Kara Perez, founder of Bravely Go, here today in my free sweatshirt that is at least 12 years old. I found this in the college laundry, had been there for like 6 weeks, and I took it and I've been wearing it ever since. And I think it's an appropriate outfit to wear for today's video, because we are going to be talking about influencers and overconsumption fatigue. This is the third video in our mini-series on influencers and their money. In this series, we've been exploring how influencers make their money, but also how influencers impact the broader conversation on money and how they also impact our shopping habits. By now, some people have been online working as influencers in some capacity for almost 2 decades, depending on the platform. We've watched influencers share their favorite outfits, their favorite cooking utensils, their favorite woodworking tools for decades online. We have watched influencers share their favorite outfits, their favorite home decor, their favorite tools, their favorite hobbies, even going so far as to monetize their homes and their children in some cases. In fact, unboxing videos have been some of the most popular content on YouTube and TikTok since these platforms' inceptions. But as the economy has drastically changed post-2020, we have seen the cost of living increase dramatically. Things like housing, gas, food, they have all gone up in the last 3 years. And people have less money to spend on the fun things, while at the same time, social media is full of people constantly trying to sell us stuff. So today's video is going to dive deep into haul culture, influencers, consumption, sales pitches, and the relationship that the state of the economy has to our personal spending. So if that sounds like your jam, give us a thumbs up right now and make sure to hit subscribe. Okay, first, let's talk about what haul culture is and why we love it. Haul culture is simply this: watching someone shop for or unpack many items within a certain genre at once. So a grocery haul, for example, which is very popular on TikTok, is watching someone go to the grocery store and then unpack all of their groceries at home. A fashion haul is watching somebody order 300 items from Shein and then try them all on in front of the camera. Haul culture is prevalent in any niche, and it's some of the most popular content on any social media platform and has been for a really long time. But if we look back in human history, we see that humans watching other humans buy stuff is kind of a hallmark of being human. This is a newspaper article about a debutante ball in Jackson, Mississippi in 1955. There are details about who attended the ball, what they wore, who made their dresses, and even what they ate. Going back even further here in the United States, wealthy people during the Gilded Age, which is roughly 1877 to 1900, like the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Chases, they would regularly call the press to attend their birthday parties, their holiday parties, their coming out parties. And the press would publish everything from who wore what, to what they ate, to what type of gloves they wore, to the way that the room was decorated. As long as there has been wealthy people, there has been a line of regular people ready to peer in at them and see how they're living. But watching people spend egregious amounts of money on things like 40 different colors of nail polish hits different when the economy starts working differently. The Gilded Age was a time of great prosperity, if you were a Vanderbilt or a Carnegie. If you were just a regular person, you were probably dealing with a fair amount of poverty and also fighting for your basic rights. The Gilded Age was a time of huge social changes. Workers were front and center, fighting for 8-hour workdays and trying to eliminate child labor. Women were fighting for the right to vote, and it was also a time of an immigration boom where a lot of different cultures were trying to work together and not always succeeding. And interestingly enough, a lot of these same issues are alive and well today in the United States as we head into 2024. Let's take the cost of housing right now. As of February 2023, the average monthly rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in the US reached $1,320, up from $1,282 a year before. To afford a 2-bedroom apartment in California, for example, a renter needed to earn an average hourly wage of nearly $37, which was approximately double the average wage in North Carolina and 3 times as much the average wage in Arkansas. In fact, rental costs were considerably higher than the hourly minimum wage in all US states. It's expensive to live in the United States, and it's only getting more expensive. The US has dramatically decreasing wealth equality. It's harder now to change economic classes than it was in feudal England. Let that sink in for a second. The top 1% of households held 31% of household wealth in 2019, compared to just 24% of household wealth in 1989. That's right. We had more wealth equality the year Taylor Swift was born. And it's not just wealth. When we talk about just having kind of day-to-day money, the money needed to cover an emergency, the money needed to put gas in the tank, a lot of Americans are struggling. 37% of Americans lack enough money to cover a $400 emergency expense, up 5% from 32% in 2021 and back to 2019 levels. 18% of Americans said the largest expense they could cover using only their savings was under $100. There is a drastic disconnect here. To be living in the richest country in the world and have 18% of your citizens say that they have less than $100 in cash, while we have the highest number of millionaires and billionaires in any one country, that's a drastic financial disconnect. The cost of the basics, and again, I'm not talking about, getting your basic Prada. I'm talking about like housing, food, healthcare, the things that keep us alive, are going up, and the support systems that were available to our parents and grandparents are either no longer available or are just a shadow of their former selves. But at the same time, our social media platforms have essentially turned into 24-hour shopping channels. On Instagram, you can buy directly from a post on someone's grid, and TikTok has TikTok Shop, which has basically taken over the entire app. Both of these are ways that you can buy something with just 1 or 2 clicks. It begs the question, do we want to see lavish lifestyles during tough financial times? Or does seeing lavish lifestyles, which is a little bit tricky to say, during tough financial times, bum us out? I think what makes that question more pressing today than it was in the Gilded Age or at any other time in human history is that the scope of what is now available to us to buy is bigger than it has ever been before. We are on the other side of the Industrial Revolution. We have robots that create a lot of things for us, or that make it easier for us to simply create more and more and more, which means that there is more available to us to buy than ever before in the history of mankind. We create 100 billion new pieces of clothing per year. We make about 1 billion new cell phones per year. In 2021 alone, we produced 80 million new cars. The pace at which we are producing things and then buying them is getting faster and faster and faster. It's totally unsustainable from an environmental perspective. I mean, we simply just don't have the water, the land, the cobalt, the lithium to create all of this stuff endlessly. And the faster we produce things, the faster we have to sell things, which leads back into influencer culture. I just saw something the other day on, I think it was on Threads, not on Twitter, where someone said, I miss when influencers would actually influence instead of just trying to sell us things. And so this is kind of an interesting question of people using their influence to get online and maybe educate or just talk to people and build real digital communities. But as we have more stuff, as capitalism continues to grow, there is this pressure to continue to sell. So influencers keep selling us stuff that we don't really need and that they often don't even use. This has led to overconsumption becoming glamorized and often referred to as #goals. Here are some images that I pulled from TikTok. No one needs to have 20 Stanley cups. No one needs $8,000 worth of beauty products under their bed. And no one needs multiple orders from noted worst company ever, Shein. And yet, these videos are held up as the paragon, as something that people should want to achieve. They should want to do on their own. They should want to buy $500 worth of Shein clothes every single month. They should want to have 20 to 30 Stanley cups. That's aspirational. And every day, all of us kind of regular people are taking these videos just like straight to the dome and being told overconsumption is aspirational. Take a look at this Reddit post I found. Overconsumption fatigue? I know this is supposed to be a snark page, but lately I've just been feeling so fatigued by these influencers' posts. It's like all they do is post photos of things they own or buy or wear. It's like, we get it? You have very expensive things. But it also makes you think, like, are you okay? Are you just doing this because you've created this monster whereby if you don't keep consuming, and particularly consuming extremely expensive goods, then the social media universe will lose interest in you? And where one's income depends on affiliate links and like to know it, I understand posting items with a corresponding link to purchase the items. But some of these girls just post things to post them. Like, okay, you have a $50,000 purse. Cool. I thought this Reddit post was interesting because the author hits on several different points. First, watching someone buy stuff over and over again is a one-trick pony, and eventually you kind of run out of steam to watch someone buy another purse. Two, constantly buying things and making that your whole online presence is kind of a trap for the creator. In order to continue to get eyeballs, you have to continue to shop. And three, what is the point? Like, just to have these things or just to show them online? Like, what are you even doing? I think this post does a good job of showing how people are fatigued, yes, but also a little confused and grossed out at the nonstop consumption that we see from a lot of influencers. And similarly, as things get more expensive for the regular person, I think a lot of people are burning out on watching the hyper wealthy endlessly shop. Is anyone else so sick of the PR unboxing videos, sponsored posts, Amazon links, and overall consumption and capitalism that has taken over TikTok? It's extremely unrelatable and out of touch at this point. Rich celebrities/influencers that are constantly getting free products sent to them will never make sense to me. I thought that this post hit another good point, which is the lack of financial transparency that a lot of influencers and yes, celebrities kind of dabble in. Failing to disclose if an expensive item was gifted to you or that if you got it on discount so that you can kind of show yourself in a certain light online is a very dangerous road to walk, because if your viewers find out that you lied or you simply withheld that information, they will lose their trust in you. And trust, once lost, is very difficult to get back. All of this has led to the rise in de-influencing. Reddit is not the only platform where these criticisms are beginning to arise. On TikTok, de-influencing videos have become quite popular, and sustainable living and shopping content is easy to find. What is de-influencing? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's people out there saying, hey, what you have will work. You don't need a new thing to solve this problem. Or, hey, it's okay to be content with what you already have. And it's an area of content creation that has risen in popularity, particularly in the last year. I personally don't think it's a coincidence that de-influencing content has become popular in a year where student loan payments have resumed, where cost of living has gone up, and where we are being fed a steady stream of ads on every single platform. So in my humble opinion, it definitely seems like there is a segment of people using social media that are really burning out from constant consumption and from the level of consumption. I think that humans are always going to be interested in how other humans spend their money. I know that I'm deeply interested in that. But I think this level of, here's a video of me buying something, here's a video of me buying something, here's a video of me buying something, especially when it's hyper expensive luxury goods, this is an area of content creation that I don't know if it will be around in the same way in the future that it has been around already. But I'm curious to hear from you. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and you're enjoying our series on influencer money, give this a thumbs up, send it to a friend, and make sure to hit subscribe.